Hi, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of This Mama Runs podcast. I'm Erin, the host of This Mama Runs podcast, also known as This Mama Runs _83 over on Instagram. Tonight, I am very excited to have Dawn Nunes, also known as Dawn Nunes ZA on Instagram. If you don't follow her, please go onto Instagram, give her a follow. She is going to be talking to me tonight about her experience on the Arc of Attrition 100. She's recently ran the London Marathon and is going to be running Ultratrail Snowdonia in a matter of days. A woman is a machine, and I can't wait to start talking to her. So let's get started. Hello,
Oh,
Dawn, and welcome to the fourth episode of This Mama Runs podcast. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for inviting me on this. I'm really excited to be chatting with you.
Oh, I'm excited to talk to you. How amazing you are, though. I found you on YouTube maybe about, oh my God, when did I get in touch with you? Uh, what, 6 weeks ago, maybe?
Oh,
And I,
yeah.
I stumbled across, because at that point I was thinking about Arc of Attrition.
Mhm.
And I was like on YouTube, scrolling YouTube as you do, looking for Arc of Attrition videos. And I came across yours and I didn't realize it was you,
Yep.
obviously, at the time. So that's how I came to find you on YouTube and through your YouTube channel. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, please tell us a wee bit more about you. What is your Instagram handle for anybody that wants to get on Instagram and follow you? What is your
Brilliant.
Instagram?
Thanks. Yeah, so it's my name. So it's Dawn Nunes ZA, being from South Africa. That's the ZA part. So yeah, if you want to follow, it's lots of running things, a little bit of physiotherapies thrown in there, and just inspiration generally and trails that I go on.
Absolutely. You inspire me. Definitely. You do. 100%. Right. Let's get started on your Arc of Attrition 100 that you done at the beginning of the year. Was that your
Yeah.
first Arc of Attrition run that you done?
Yes. So I didn't know about the race until about 4 weeks or so before I entered, from a patient of mine, actually. So it was, yeah, it was quite a learning experience in more ways than one. And then when I got in, I was just like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? But I think sometimes, yeah, once you enter these things, then you start. I'm a big investigator, so I love planning. That's a big part of which I really enjoy. And yeah, it was a kind of a whirlwind, learning more and more about it. And we all kind of, a week before, 2 weeks before, you're looking at the weather going, oh my gosh, like.
I know it's crazy, especially down on the freaking coast path as well.
Mm. Yeah.
What kind of weather did you get? Because it was quite mild. It was quite balmy, wasn't
We
it, back in
we got
January?
perfect weather, to be honest.
Amazing.
So we had 10 degrees, and then the first evening was stunning. I went down to maybe 4, but I was completely comfortable with running, like really, really good. Very still, no wind. And then the next day was lovely. And then in the evening it started to drizzle a little bit. But again, we couldn't have asked for better weather on a coastline. It was just amazing. Very
Oh, how
smooth.
amazing. So you said you entered what 4 weeks beforehand
Well,
and then
I got a late entry, so I came off the waiting list. So that
right.
was the one thing. So it was kind of like you can't plan, but you can plan, if that makes sense. So it
Absolutely.
was like a last minute in that point of view. And then when I got in, I go all in. So once I found
Oh,
out, it was like, okay, let's
I'm
do
with you.
this. But the biggest tricky part was I just didn't have time to go down and recce, because I'm in Kent, and it just wasn't feasible at the time for me to go all the way down to kind of actually see what it was like. So I relied a lot on kind of local people, and Facebook was fantastic for that. Just kind of really learning about it a lot.
So would you, if someone was going in for the 100, would you advise them to go and recce the course?
100%. I would definitely do. And so because I got in late, and I was training for my other 100 miler, which is coming up, I didn't have time. But if one can, I think it does make a huge difference, because it just gives you an idea of kind of the terrain, especially if you're not used to like technical or uneven terrain. So you're just aware of that. Some people are really worried about, so this doesn't bother me in the least, but in
Mm-hmm.
some areas it's quite, I wouldn't say sheer, but the path can be really close to the edge. But a lot of that's at nighttime, and I felt perfectly safe the whole time. But for some people, they found that that could be a bit more, a little bit more scary. I mean, it's not right there, but it can be quite close. So
It's
it's just
close
things like
enough.
it's things like that. If people, depending on what you like or don't like, and then also doing it in the daylight, so that you can have a good idea of where to go. So that the night parts you do in day. But yeah, but there's lots of YouTube videos that make a big difference as well, and that's what I relied on. So it can be done without going and even without a crew, which is what I did. So it is possible.
You were self-sufficient?
I was, yeah.
Oh, and
I got offered. So I went on Facebook and a guy actually offered to crew me, but it was quite late. And for crewing, like with anything, I want to know that, 100% I can trust the person and
yeah.
they're going to be there because it's quite awkward places to come in. And I just felt at that stage, I'd rather rely on just the drop bag. I'll tell you how that was a good, bad decision and what I would suggest going forward. But it was fine for me. It was okay. I think it did lead to a few more, I had major feet issues. So I think some of that could have been either prevented or not as bad if I had crew with me. But it can also be done without crew because there are so many archangels. You are very well looked
Amazing.
after. So it's really, really a community driven race.
Oh, amazing. Oh, what were you using on your, what trainers were you using?
So I was using those. So I had Saucony Peregrines for the first part, which
Mm-hmm.
because it was more runnable. So I had two new pairs of shoes that I was using, and I knew that they weren't very cushioned, but I knew that there's quite a bit of road running, and I was planning on running quite a bit of that first part because you can run it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I swapped to the Saucony Exodus, which are like the Peregrines. They both have really good grip, but the Exodus are more cushioned.
Yeah.
In hindsight, definitely would want a little bit more cushioning for that first half. Yeah, so that would be my only change if I did it. Yeah.
Are you in it for this year? Or well,
I'm not.
for 2025?
No, I've
Oh,
decided not to. I was debating, but as much as I loved it, I like to try different things as well. So
you've
I've
done it.
still stayed. I've stayed on the community Facebook page, and I'm still very much eager to hear and help if I can. But yeah, I decided not for next gen. If I do it, I may go for like the 50 miler, just and then something different. But yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you're, because when I was messaging you, I said I would touch upon it. So you're
Yeah,
on the community Facebook page. Now,
yeah.
your take on, for me, I was very much on the fence about
Mhm.
entering the 50 after I found out UTMB had taken over
Yeah.
the Arc of Attrition. UTMB are massive. I don't know that I
Mm.
necessarily agree with what
Mm.
they do, but I understand why the Arc done what they done. But it's a race that I had my sights set on. So I hit that button and I was like, yeah, no, I want to do it. So I'm excited. So what's your take on it? On UTMB taking over the arc?
So it's interesting because it was interesting watching and observing first just to kind of see, shame how the community responded. I think so. I
Yeah,
kind of sit on the fence a little bit. To put into perspective, I'd happily do a UTMB race because I would
yeah,
choose to go and do it. So I don't have anything. I know they've had their ups and downs and they've kind of changed a few things with that. But I would be, if I got, no, when I get stones, I will be entering to try and do UTMB. So that's kind of my perspective in terms of that. I think it's from what I've heard, they run really good races. They do a really good job. Yes, it costs a lot of money, but you can choose to do it or not. In terms of UTMB
exactly.
buying out the ARC, I'm kind of a little bit mixed. One is with the amazing race directors, Andy Ferg and Jane, is to just applaud them for making the ARC what it is,
What it
because
is.
UTMB has asked that, has wanted to get it, and they've agreed to sell it. And I think to them, I remember chatting to them beforehand, and one of their frustrations was not being big enough to get more people involved and to make it that bigger race for the community and for, and this is going to help for that, I think, because they've already introduced the shorter distance.
The shorter distance.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of them for doing that, if you want to call it that, because I mean, in the end, it's a really good business, but it's community based as well. Phenomenal trail, very much highlighting Cornwall, which is an area that maybe needs that as well, with people going at other times of the year to go and see it a bit more. So that's the one side of it. The other side of it is I really, really, really hope that with them still at the helm, that the community base stays, because that for me was everything going into the race and what I experienced from the race. The archangels, the hugs at the end, the massive belt buckles that you get. Everyone knew, even if they weren't involved in the race, that you were doing the race. It was just a thing.
Yeah. You
So
see, I
yeah.
think for me, I think that was the draw for me. That
Mm,
that whole community feel definitely was the draw for me. And I think I'm lucky that I've, with it just being the first year of them selling, or not selling, or UTMB taking
yeah.
over, I'm hoping that will still be there,
Mm,
and I'm sure it will, because I've listened to a podcast where Fergie was on, and they
mm.
released it a couple of days ago, and so he was saying the Archangels will still be there and everything. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping that community feel will still be on
Absolutely.
on
And
it,
I think
definitely.
and I think it will. I think the sad part has been, which again, everyone has, their own thing, but some people that were really into it are against UTMB, and that's their
Mm,
choice. And so I think that's been really hard, because again, people are just firm with that. But I think it'll be, and again, it could be even extra better. We don't know. And I think just
exactly.
give them a chance. Let's see what, and that's my thing. I'm still very much supportive of them. I'll still share things with them, but yeah, definitely mixed feelings, I would say, as well. But I think definitely done with the right reasons in mind. I really
Oh,
do believe
100%.
that. So yeah.
And it's like you say, it will, for different times of the year, it will draw in, um, financial support for the community, because I went
Yeah.
on to book my accommodation for
Yeah.
next year on Airbnb, and two of the places literally yesterday I had put in my wish list
Yeah.
were gone today. So
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
it is picking up, and it is showing that hopefully, with more
Yes.
places being added on to the race as well, like you say, with that shorter distance,
Mm-hmm.
it'll draw more of a financial help towards the community, definitely.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
would you suggest, somebody going in for the 100? The 100 is kind of like where I want to be in 2026.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, definitely. Definitely. So sorry, what were you asking? So what would I?
So, would you suggest, like, would you advise, if somebody said, I'm really thinking about doing the 100,
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
you say, go balls deep, just go in, go for it?
Um, yes, so there would be one thing. So I've done 100 miler prior to my Arc of Attrition. It was also quite a
Was
crazy one. It was
which one was
ul-
that?
it was Ultratrail Cape Town in South Africa.
Okay,
And it
okay.
was the inaugural one, so no one quite knew what it looked like. But it was also I think 8,000 meter climbing technical trail, 45 hours we got to kind of do it in, and I was out for 42 of those hours. So
Wow.
I was I think the ninth lady, and I was right near the right near the back, but I finished. So again, also big dropout rate. So I think coming in, having done a 100 miler or a very hard race, gave me
Hmm.
a bit of benefit. So I think, to answer your question, I would say I wouldn't recommend it for a new runner. I just think I
Mm,
would say go for the 50, because it's also
absolutely.
really challenging, and would be a really good taster to see, what to expect and what to go. And especially with food, nutrition, you don't have to worry about, well, you can't really sleep on the arc either, you don't have time, but that kind of thing. But if someone's like done a 100 miler, like for example, maybe, another local one that's maybe not as aggressive or what have you, and they're looking for like a next level, definitely. And I think if they are able to put in the time to recce, and they haven't even done a 100 miler before, but they've done, 50 milers, or I would definitely say it would be worth doing some kind of ultras, with that. Why not? Like, just,
Exactly.
like, what
Why
have you
not?
got to lose? And I'm kind of one of those where I want to see everything. So why enter the 50 when I can enter the
When
100?
you can do that. I was sitting in work today. And I was thinking to myself, should I have just went for the 100 miles? Should have bypassed the 50 and I should have just went for the 100 miles. But no, baby, I had to pull myself. Baby steps, Erin, baby steps.
But it's not the 50 is not, hey? It's right in its own. It's the hardest section, to be honest.
I know.
So the first part, the second part's, a bit more runnable. But I think again, it just depends where you're at as well. And also, the 100 miler will take that little bit more time, a few more weekends away if you really want to train for it properly. So I think it just depends what your goals are. And I think you've done it perfectly well. I think it's nice because you've got this, and then the next year you've got that. It's a really good stepping stone. I think that's a nice way to do it. But I speak to a lot of people who are like, yeah, we're jumping in the deep end. We're just gonna full on.
Go for it. So was that your second 100 miler?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
I
God.
choose the hard ones. I've actually chosen quite a few of the hard ones, and yeah, now with Ultratrail Snowdonia, just adding to to the hard
So
ones.
let's talk Ultratrail Snowdonia. Well, you've just recently ran the London Marathon as well.
Yes.
My
I
God,
was
woman, you're a machine. Bloody hell,
I
I love it.
Yeah. So I was extremely fortunate. So people are going to hate me or love me. I don't know. But I got a ballot entry for London Marathon this year.
Excellent.
And as soon as I got ballot, I quickly checked my dates, and it was 3 weeks prior to Ultra Trail Snowdonia. So I was like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So it was really, really awesome. Absolutely loved it. It was my first London. I went in with the aim of kind of taking the first half easy-ish. And then if I had anything in the tank, the last 10 Ks or 6 miles, I wanted to kind of really go for it. And it went better than I expected. So I was really, really chuffed. It was good.
I'm going to ask the question that you shouldn't
Mm.
ever really ask because you've just ran 26.2 miles. What was your time? What did you do London in?
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah. So I was going to, I thought I'd be fortunate if I got just under 4 hours, and I managed to get in 3:43:55.
Oh
So
my God,
I was
Dawn,
really
that's
chuffed.
amazing.
Yeah. So I was
Oh,
really
you should
chuffed.
be. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's good. I think, yeah, I haven't done marathon training for ages and road running in terms of training. So I've been like
Yeah,
long and slow in hills. So it was a
absolutely.
good change.
It paid dividends, clearly paid
Yeah,
dividends.
yeah, yeah.
So let's talk Ultra Trail Snowdonia.
Yes, I know.
Amazing.
I know.
That's happening in 2 weeks.
Like 7 days. No,
Oh
no,
my
like next
God.
Friday. Like now I'll be running. Next week, Friday, I will be running in the mountains. Very exciting.
God, amazing. Right. How are you feeling about that?
I'm ready to do it now. I just want to
You
get
ready?
going. I'm kind of, yeah. Today was a packing day, so I love my planning and prep. So our bed was full of all my gear and double checking because there's a lot of compulsory gear. So I got all of that out. I've also got a crew who's coming to help me, which was one thing I learned from the Arc. I've asked someone to come and help me, so that'll make a big difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, really, really excited just to get going. So unlike the Arc with the UTS, I've recce'd a lot of it. I've done 70 or 80% of it.
Yeah.
So I have a really good idea of what I've got myself into, good or bad. I don't know.
Good. It will be amazing. So, what's the cutoff for it?
This one is 48 hours, which sounds like a lot, but yeah, they're
It's
actually
not
quite
when you're.
tight cutoffs. The first third is actually quite tight cutoff. So yeah, you've got to just keep moving. You've got to keep moving. So
So this. So what times it starts? Friday? Is it
yeah, that's
Friday
correct. So
start?
1 p.m. yeah on Friday next week, and then we've
Have
got
you
till 1 p.m.
have
this
you
Sunday.
got have you got tracking for it? Is it going to be
Yes,
open
so that's
track?
live trail. So live trails where you can track all the athletes, 100 mile, 100K, the 50 or the 25. So yeah, it's you can just look up the person or the number, which is really
Right.
cool. So you can dot watch.
So amazing, absolutely. Let's get that shared 100%. Right. So you said you started training for that before you entered the Arc.
Yes, pretty much. That was
Yeah.
kind of my main goal kind of thing. And then the arc happened in between. Which is actually,
As it
but
does.
I know, but you know what? These things work for a reason. It gave me the best. I would never have trained like that through the winter for the Arc, which is at the end of January,
Yes.
for this 100 miler, which is in May. So, I mean, on Christmas Eve in the morning, my poor husband got up at 5 o'clock and dropped me 42 Ks away so that I could run, a trail marathon back home by myself in the dark. So it was just things like that that I needed to do. And you've got to train through
Yes.
the dark. So I was very thankful. So yeah, my eyes, this has been a year coming UTS, and then the Arc has just accelerated that. And I learned a lot of lessons from the Arc, which was good. So it's been
Amazing.
good.
So, in regards to the Arc, what was your time on the Arc? How long did it take you to get the 100 miles?
Uh, I think I've actually gone. I think it was around 33 hours. I think it was
Right.
33, and you're allowed 36 hours. Yeah. So they've
So
got mm,
that's the cutoff, 36 hours for you to get in from on the Arc.
yes.
So what are you thinking you're going to do UTS in?
So I think finishing will be an absolute dream is first.
Yeah.
Realistically, if I get anywhere between 42 and 45 hours, that will be great. Anything under will be a miracle. So,
Oh, you
I mean,
absolutely will
yeah,
smash
yeah.
it, Dawn.
So I think
Absolutely.
those are kind of the ideas. I mean, to give you an idea, the top two ladies, I think last year were only just under 30 hours, only just. And there were only
Okay.
8 ladies that finished last year, also kind of, you're kind of around that area. And this year we've got 300 runners and we've got about 21 of us, ladies in the 100 miler. So it's yeah,
Amazing.
it's exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
but only 21 women though
Yeah.
out of a field of 300 runners.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
more women need to get involved
Yeah,
in this.
exactly. And that's
100%.
why I love, speaking about this and sharing it. I think that's my biggest thing for social media in terms of that, is showing that we can do hard stuff. And, I'm
Exactly.
married with, like yourself, got two, got children, I've got a job. It's not a case of just and you prioritize it and you make it work because you can. And I think that's important to believe in yourself, because that was one of the biggest things of kind of looking up all the research with kind of She Ultra and all of those, just saying what they're doing. And a lot of it is about women just not believing in themselves,
Yeah,
more so. And if we can do more of that, I think it really will show some more women on the start line, which will be great.
definitely. That, you know what? That's one of my things that I want to get more women on the
Yep.
start line of big hard races, because they are hard, and it
Yep.
does take, especially like yourself, mums, that um you prioritize. It's like you've just said, you prioritize, and that is a
Mm,
passion for me. More women on the start line of harder races.
agreed. Yeah.
It has to happen.
Yeah. 100% behind you with that. It's amazing.
So how do you juggle your training, your home life, your children, your job, because you work full time? So how are you
Yeah.
juggling all that?
Yeah, so I think for me, yeah, I work Mondays to Thursdays. I do work in London, so it's a bit like quite long days as a physio. And what I do is I work around it. So I'll just make sure, like on a Monday morning, I'll get up early and do a short run with. I've got my dog that I run with, which is awesome. So I've got a border collie, he's amazing. And then Tuesday mornings, I go in and we've got a gym at work, so I actually go in early to use the gym at work. So kind of use it as part of my day. Wednesday evenings, we've made a good hill session. I've got the local kind of Trail runners here. So again, just trying to get the community together and doing that. And then on the weekends, yeah, Fridays I have off, so I make it a time to really try to get either a long run in or something like that. And then it doesn't disturb the family as much because, they're at work and school. And then on the weekend, I do tend to try and get up early so I don't disturb the family as much or go away for as much. But yeah, and then you just fit in the two long weekend, on the long weekends. And I mean, yeah, my husband's very understanding. I think it makes me a better person. But I'm always aware of, okay, when is the best time to do this? And
Yeah,
I'll always be adaptable. There's very few times, I'll say to my husband, look, this weekend's really, really important that I've got to go away for the weekend or something. And he'll understand that. But like another time he'll say, for example, he plays tennis and he'll say, oh, there's a tennis match on. And I'll be like, oh, that's fine. I'll swap things around. So I think
yeah.
it's just being mindful of that and being, just aware of each other's goals and plans, and being able to adapt as well. I coach myself, so I think that's one thing at the moment that works,
Yeah.
because I can kind of, I've got to do a long run, I'll switch it from Friday to Saturday, and still do what I need to do. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, Dawn, seriously, you are just inspiring me so much. I love it. Okay, so what nutrition are you using for UTS?
So my big thing is eat regularly and often, or drink regularly and often. So Tailwind is always a staple with me.
Hmm.
I just find that you sip it all the time. So from within 5 minutes, I'm already eating or drinking or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. And then I eat early on. I'm quite a forward eater, so we're starting at 1 o'clock. So I will pig out in the morning, and make sure that I'm nice and full with whatever, just normal food, basically. And
Yeah.
then I'll have, I'm quite enjoying pastries at the moment. So like croissants and things like that. And then just like a jam roll. My favorite is baby potatoes. So that's one of my favorites. So
So will
salted baby potatoes.
you'll carry those with you and eat baby potatoes
Yeah.
on the trail?
Yep.
Amazing.
Because they don't mush, and you can put salt or margarine or butter,
Yeah.
and they're filling. The saltiness, they're not sweet, because later on, I usually find 2/3 of the way through I don't want a lot of food, so then the gels become more prominent,
Yeah.
and then I'll just eat a variety. I'm a variety eater, so just like different things, crisps, various things like that, and keep it yeah, fresh.
Amazing. So where will you have your crew? At what point on UTS will you have your crew will your crew meet you at certain points, or will you have one certain point that your crew will be there and then you just keep going?
Yeah, so especially because it's also a UTMB event, they're very
Mm.
specific about where you're able to have crew. So there
Hmm.
are 12 CPs, checkpoints, and the crew can be at 6 of them. So Wayne, who's going to crew me, he'll be at those 6 points. So I think it's CP3 is the first one they can, CP2, sorry, checkpoint 2. There is no CP3. They've changed that now. So at the second checkpoint, he'll be there. And then yeah, it's kind of like 2 later, and then they can be at, so he'll be at all the ones that he can be at, which will be great.
Amazing.
Mm.
Fabulous. Is the hubs going to be there to cheer you on?
No, because it's just difficult with the kids, and it's actually just
Yeah.
less stressful. So he'll cheer from
Um,
afar, watch the
he'll be not
clock.
watching.
Yeah, exactly. Send the messages. I usually send a voice note somewhere in the thing going, why do I do these things? And then later on, I'm like, oh, these are amazing. It's a
Sign
shame.
up for the next one.
Exactly.
Oh my
Exactly.
God, I love it. And
Yeah.
what are you going to be using the Scotties again for UTS?
So am I going to be using
Your Sauconys again.
the
What are you running in?
so yeah, so I'm using Sauconys, but I've now got the what are they called? I've actually gone blank now. Anyway, I'll get back to them. But it's another one with more cushioning and more grip, which is really good. So oh, I've just gone blank. Anyway, they're the same name as their road ones, but they're called the trail ones. So I'll get it at some point. But yeah, they're really nice because they basically got the benefit of the Exodus, but they've got even better grip, to be honest. And I've taken them
Excellent.
up on, because Snowdonia, the trails are just so technical and so slippery.
Yeah,
But the cushioning, because of it's very harsh underneath, you really want to make sure you've got that as well. So yeah,
really
so
great grip.
I've bought 2 pairs of those. I've actually decided to, for the first time, I bought a pair that's half a size bigger for the
Yeah.
second half. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise I'll put 2 pairs of socks on. But yeah, no, my other ones are dead, my Exodus, and I decided to try and upgrade to these ones. So yeah, we'll
Oh,
see how
bless.
they go.
Good. So endorphins, you are using the Saucony endorphin.
Yes, Endorphin Pro Trails shoes. So they're really good.
Amazing.
So they're very cushioned, and they've got really good grip as well. The other added bonus with these ones is that the uppers on the shoe are really easy to clean, and they also don't grip much dirt and mud.
Yeah.
So and then also where the tongue is, it's all in one from the tongue to the shoe. So it means that less dirt gets in, if that makes sense. So it's
Yeah,
not got that
absolutely.
gap. Yeah.
Absolutely. Amazing. Oh,
Mm.
Dawn, I'm so looking forward. I'm going to try my best to follow along because, well, I'm doing the lap on the weekend as well.
Yes, I was going to
The same
ask. Okay,
weekend
brilliant.
that you're doing
Okay.
it, but on the Friday, I'm going to definitely watch dot watch. I'm going to be dot watching you on the
Oh,
Friday,
fantastic.
100%. And then
Awesome.
once I get finished, if you're still out, I'll be like, oh, I'll be on it, absolutely, and messaging you on Instagram saying, come on, girl,
Brilliant.
get it done.
Brilliant. Thank you. All the support keeps me going, knowing that people are
Oh,
dot watching. It helps me to keep moving forward. So it's good.
yeah. So what goes through you? You're out there and you're doing 100 miles, man. It's mind blowing. Like, what are you thinking about, if you even are thinking? Because I know we all kind of go into this freaking world of our own. But
Yes.
what goes through your head?
Yeah.
What do you think about?
I think my biggest thing that keeps on recurring, even when it's hard, because it does get hard every single time it's got
Yeah,
hard, is what a privilege it is. So the fact that my body has been
I
able to
love that.
train to get to the
Yeah,
start line, that but like so far I've been uninjured pretty much. And that doesn't mean I haven't had niggles. I've just very been proactive to sort them. But the fact that I have a privilege that, this is the celebration. No matter what happens, I'm going to give it my best. I've already told like my seconder that unless my leg's falling off or I'm dying, no matter what I say, he has to kick me out and keep me going. But yeah,
yeah,
that is the resounding thing, is just to know that it's a privilege and that I get to do this. And I actually really enjoy the nighttime sections. So I love I'll have my earphones on, so I use shocks, but I'll have them maybe quietly, or I'll put them on, then take it off, so it's not on the whole time. And if I'm going a bit low, I'll pop some, rocky music to keep me going and vibing, or some really good lyrics. And then yeah, just I chat to people. I just love it. And I love to encourage other people, even when I'm going through a rough time. And just
yeah.
to know that it's a privilege. And I'm exploring. It's my like holiday exploration around,
I'm so
uh
oh Dawn. I
mm.
get goosebumps just listening to you talk about it, because I get that. I get that. And
Mm,
then you have to be a certain type of person to
yeah,
actually understand that.
yeah.
That was one of the questions, actually. I'll drop that question into it now.
Mm,
One of the questions that I got from one of my followers on Instagram
yeah.
when I put out, like, ask Dawn a question, and he wanted to know, it's a guy called Connor, especially on the Arc. So I don't know if Connor's doing the Arc or anything like
Hmm.
that. When you were in that nighttime section of the
Yeah.
Arc, what were your thoughts? What were you thinking as you were in that night and you were just beasting it and going for it? What were
Yes.
you thinking about?
So I was just looking at that to see where because I got into the first aid station, Porthleven. That was it, just as it turned dark. So from there you've got a bit of technical trail, and then the latter part is like road, and it's dark. And I think for me the trails weren't too bad that I could run them. I was quite confident to run them, and I was either buddying up with someone, so I had company, or I was solo, put my music on, and then just went. So I was enjoying the constant sound of the waves the whole time as
Oh
well to my
yeah.
left. So that was something I made a point of listening to. I was also I'm always checking in with myself. So, have I eaten? Have I drunk? That kind of things. I was having a bit of foot problems, so I stopped at the stations to get my feet looked at. And yeah, unfortunately, they did do something, but it's still kind of deteriorated from there. But it was kind of just being body aware. But again, just kind of just keeping on going and just enjoying it. I think you've got to enjoy it. You can't stress about it. The thing with the arc is that obviously it's self-navigation, but
Hmm.
a lot of people, because of the number of people that are running it, you're actually okay for most of the time, because you see the little red lights ahead, because you've got little red
Yeah.
lights at your back. And then just when you get into some of the towns, you got to be a bit more aware with your watch, which where do I turn and stuff. So I think when it came to that, it was a bit more aware at the nighttime of where do I go and what do I do. But no, again, just kind of really just enjoying it and going, what's the next point, and keep on going, and eating something. And then yeah, it was yeah, just enjoying it, having fun.
Oh yeah, because it's the training. It's the training,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. The lead up to well, I actually get to stand on the start line and I actually get to do it. And
Exactly.
the training's the hard part. It's the race that's the easy part and the fun part.
Exactly, exactly, and that's it. And the arc is so I think as long as I knew, I would always check on my watch because that was one of my biggest concerns was getting lost, like a big
Yeah.
navigation error. And it actually wasn't too bad, to be fair. It was actually quite reasonable to kind of either follow people or realize where you're going. But I try not be a sheep because I've got into trouble like that before. So just being aware of where you are. But that was at nighttime in particular. That was kind of, but I found the nighttime wasn't my hardest time. It was the next section where it was kind of from Land's End to the good old Zena and St. Ives. That is a hard section, just kind of where you are in the race. After the sun came up, it's a very hard underfoot section. So interestingly, the nighttime, you had the steps and a few other bits and pieces there, but it was actually easier. You're still relatively fresh for the 100 miler.
Yeah.
But yeah, that second part, as the sun comes up, you're quite tired.
Oh, Dawn, you're amazing. You're so amazing. I love it. Um, okay, so what kind of music did you listen to whenever you were doing the arc, or what have you got a playlist sorted
Yeah, so I'm actually
for
busy doing another
yeah.
playlist now. I like something with a beat most of the time. A lot of female artists like Katy Perry and all of those who've got really inspiring lyrics and kind of keep you going. And then yeah, just a mixture. I actually asked people to send songs in to me, so I've added those on. So when I listen to it, if it's from a friend or a relative, then it reminds me of them. So everything like that. I ask people to, bring in quotes as well and kind of remind myself of those as well. But
Yeah,
yeah, all kinds of music, but usually something with a bit of a beat to kind of get me going. I think that's
absolutely.
generally what I like to listen to. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
did you have your kids write you a little note that you could carry with you? So when you were feeling a bit low, you
Yeah.
took it out and you had a little read and maybe a little cry.
Yeah, so I definitely, I mean, if you watch my YouTube, there are definitely tears there in that middle section. But my brother was actually phenomenal with this. So he put together, I didn't know about this, 10 voice notes, and he'd
Oh
actually
wow.
asked my husband and my kids and some other relatives to give him a voice note. So I
Yeah.
listened to them. He told me don't listen to them now. And I listened to them on that section with bawling my eyes out, as you do, but still walking forward. I was always
Yeah.
moving forward. So
Absolutely.
that's the important part. And then it
Absolutely.
soon goes away. And yeah, it was huge because I know my first 100 miler, I had the most phenomenal crew who was there. They pushed me at halfway in. I wanted to give up, and they were like, no, you're going to keep going. And I knew I had that. And with this one, not having a crew, it does make a big difference. So you've got to figure out, depending how you work, getting those things. And the voice notes definitely did it. And that really helped me, yeah, hugely.
So tip for anybody that's doing a 100 miler or a 50 miler, feeling low, get a voice note done.
Exactly.
Do you know
Huge.
what? These wee things, they absolutely make the difference. They
Yeah.
really, really do. Right. Okay. So, a couple of questions for you.
Mm.
We've just done your, we've just done the music one, and we've done the nighttime section one.
Yeah.
Connor wanted to know what your thoughts
Mm.
were on the dark section. So the terrain on the dark section,
Yeah.
especially on the arc,
Mhm.
what was it? What was it like?
So it's quite mixed. So in the night section, when you leave Porthleven, you've got a little bit of road, and then it does get a little bit uneven. But once you're getting towards Penzance, so that first checkpoint to the second one, I always get muddled up. There's lots of P's and in like Porthleven, Penzance, Port Cowan. It's so between the first two checkpoints, it's the shortest distance. And
Hmm.
as you're going into Penzance, there's a very long, like I think it's 7 miles road section, and it's
Right.
flat. So you just, that's where put your
Runnable.
music on,
Absolutely.
get steady. So that section's not too bad. When you leave Penzance, that's when it gets fun. It's a lot more technical. There was a little bit of bog there, but not nothing too serious. Depend again I had it where it hadn't rained much before. It wasn't raining at the time.
Amazing.
So I can imagine with a very different scenario that could be very boggy and muddy, that next section. Marzel was just a little town that everyone gets lost in. You kind of get through it somehow. It's roads, but it is quite navigating, quite fun. And then after Marzel is quite a tricky section. But again, if you're comfortable, I've trained quite a lot in the dark running with a headlamp. And so I
Mhm.
think that definitely would be a thing that I would highly recommend. If you're not used to, I did a marathon around where I live in Seven Oaks by myself, and I started at 3:30 p.m. in winter to get in the dark. And I think it's really important you get comfortable with, your headlamp, and because then I felt comfortable too. I was running quite at a good pace relatively and it was quite technical trail, but because
Yeah.
my headlamp was good, because I was comfortable with my footing, that would, if you're not comfortable with that, that could slow you down quite a bit.
Mhm.
It's a single track trail, so but it is technical, like a coastal path, but definitely runnable. At least when I did it. Again, I think if it was really, really rainy, parts of it would definitely be harder, but I still think you could run quite a bit of it. And then you got the Minack steps, which again, they're just a couple of steps you got to go up, so it's not really a problem. And then it's again kind of runnable up until when you get to kind of Land's End, and then from Land's End you're just tired, but you can definitely run. There's a bit of beach, which you would walk. There's bits and pieces, and then the sun comes up again. And then depending on how you are, the latter sections, if you've got legs on that second night time, you definitely can run bits. I couldn't. I was broken by then, but
Oh,
you
bless
definitely
you.
can run that last bit as well.
Oh, amazing. That's a really good tip actually as well for anybody that's not used to running at nighttime. Night training with a head torch.
100%. Yeah.
100%. Oh my
Mm.
God, absolutely. I learned that from doing backyard ultras.
Yeah.
And I think my training for Arc 50 is definitely it's gonna step up once I've got 100 kilometers in June. So
Oh,
once I get that done and out of the way, my coach
brilliant.
is he's gonna
That's great base
I,
training. That's awesome.
I can't wait to start bitching more about him.
I love it. Love it.
Oh my God. Okay, Colin, who is my coach, he says UTS.
Yeah.
All the best for UTS,
Aw,
100%.
thanks.
And then Neil put in a question. Um, if he decided to sign up for Arc of Attrition, how afraid should he be?
No, don't be afraid. Put in the training, you'll be fine. But if you can get on the coast, it'll make it so much easier for you. Watch all the YouTube videos if you want, because it does make a difference.
Yeah,
Especially Film My Run. He does a really good one where he breaks down all the sections in daylight, so you can see
yes,
the sections. Nighttime running, and then practice your fueling. Nutrition is one of the biggest things that we often do get wrong when we run long distances. But no, don't be
yeah.
afraid. It's well worth it. Sign up, definitely.
I think he should be petrified.
Well,
I'll
shh.
actually, no, yeah. I actually watched a great YouTube video on nutrition, and it's
Mm,
something that I'm going to start putting into practice. It's called nibble, nibble, sip, sip every 30 minutes.
love it.
And the way it was explained, it actually makes massive sense. Nibble, nibble,
Mm,
sip, sip every 30 minutes because your body is working so hard and it's sending blood to your legs
hmm
that if you don't eat, your stomach doesn't recognize it. So, and it's trying to send blood to your stomach, and then your body's not recognizing the food, so
Yeah,
it's going to reject it.
yeah.
So to keep the blood flowing to both, nibble, nibble, sip, sip every
I
30
love it.
minutes. It
There you
makes sense.
go.
We need to
Sorted.
hashtag that.
There you go. Go for it. Love it. That's
Nibble,
brilliant.
nibble, sip, sip every 30 minutes.
As long as
Okay.
it's not the nibble of wine. Sip, sip. Anyway.
Sip that. We'll save that one for afterwards.
Exactly.
Okay, so then Chris asked a question. World Measures High Runners Golden Series.
The Golden Series?
It's
Sorry, but
quite obscure question. Yeah. I think it's if you were to choose one, would you go for the World Majors or the Sky Runners
um,
Golden Series?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Golden Series, I think. Yeah, yeah, Golden Series. Let's go with that one.
Did you
Yeah.
the Trail Golden Series? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's all the questions that I
Cool.
had for you.
Oh,
Dawn,
thank you.
absolutely amazing talking to you. And I
Um,
am really looking forward to seeing how you get on with UTS. And thank you for sharing about Arc of Attrition. I've been really looking forward to talking to you about that, especially since
You pushed the button and said,
I
yeah.
pushed the fucking button and
I
just
love
I just
it.
went for it. I mean, I'm terrified. I don't know if I've bit off more than I can chew on that
Not
one
at all.
because
Not.
like you say, it's those sheer drops, and I have an issue with and sheer
You'll be
drops
fine.
and going forward. But yeah, no, I've
Yeah.
really enjoyed talking to you, and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing with me about Arc of Attrition. And I'm really excited to see how you do on UTS and see what your
Thank
time
you.
is coming in.
Brilliant. Thank
So
you.
I want to wish you all the best. Thank you very much, Dawn.
Aw, thanks, Erin. Cheers.
Problem at all. Thanks for tuning in to the fourth episode of This Mama Runs podcast. I've had a great time talking to Dawn. Dawn, thank you for taking time out to come onto the podcast and share with me about your experiences on the Arc of Attrition 100 and telling us what you're going to be getting up to um, on Ultratrail Snowdonia. I'm looking forward to following your journey on that one and seeing how you do. And wish you all the best with it. If you've enjoyed listening along to this episode of This Mama Runs podcast, head over to the Instagram page, give it a like and a follow. I'm also on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasters. So head over to those platforms as well and give them a like and a follow as well. And I just want to say thanks for tuning in.